News that we had about 15 minutes before the rest of the world had it, maybe 20 minutes before the rest of the world had it. So our sources told us, okay, and I chose to tweet out that I knew something that was going to come out strictly because this is what I do, okay? The reason why I do this, I don't want to get in the news-breaking game. I do not want to get in the news-breaking game. It's a dangerous game.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're not 100% accurate, somebody's going to come after you, whether it's your opponents who are trying to sneak the news out before you or the people you're breaking news about, you not being 100% accurate. So the news-breaking game is not one that I want to get into. You got to be a special type of person to get in the news-breaking game. We've dabbled. Hey, I've dabbled in the news-breaking game, and that's why I've been in their pond before, and I don't want to swim there anymore. Like, it's just not a place. But I would like people to know that if I wanted to, I could potentially dive into that. If I wanted to dive into that world, I could. I don't want to. And also, I would like to let people know that we are a credible place. Like, hey, this is a credible show. We know things that are going to happen just like everybody else does. Just like the big networks that have their insiders and everything, we also have that type of operation. So when I tweeted at 10:14 that there was some rather large news that's about to hit the NFL world pretty soon, just know that I knew. That's all I wanted. I just wanted people to know that we knew. I just wanted people to know that we knew. And that big news was COVID-19 went on to the top rope, jumped as high as possible, and Macho Man Randy Savage elbow dropped the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, no.
I mean, absolutely bring it down from the clouds on the Tennessee Titans. 3 new player positives, 5 new personnel positives this morning or yesterday for a COVID-19 case in the Tennessee Titans building. Mike Garafolo and Tom Pelissero reported that. We could have.
Could have. Yeah, sure.
I don't think we had the exact numbers, but we did know that there was a COVID-19 outbreak on what team it was and how it was affecting a lot of. We knew a lot of information, and both the Titans and the Vikings, who hosted them Sunday, will suspend in-person club activity starting today. Okay, so there's a lot to unfold here. Everybody assumed that this was going to happen at some point. All right, the internet was, this isn't breaking news. We knew this was going to happen. The reason why it is breaking news is because we just got slapped in the face for the first time, something that doesn't happen to the NFL. The NFL is now going to have to change completely for some outside source that they cannot control. So, for instance, right now, COVID-19 has the Tennessee Titans kicked out of their facility until Saturday, it says. Now, the NFL has come out and said, we don't have a set protocol for return to building because each case is different, and they're meeting with infectious disease doctors and maintenance and all this. So they're clean sweeping the entire building. There's all this stuff going on. But everybody has said basically that they're shutting down the building until at least Saturday. This game's supposed to be Sunday. So what's that mean? They don't practice. So what's that mean? This game's postponed. Okay. So now the Steelers, who have done nothing wrong.
Never.
Steelers have done nothing wrong. Not that the Titans have done anything wrong either. One guy might have had a kid who went to school, and somebody at the school like touched his hand, and then it comes. There are so many different ways for this to happen. So I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but no Steelers tested positive. Now the Steelers, since they're playing the Titans, their game's postponed to Sunday. And this is all just assumed, by the way. None of this has come out announced. But if a team can't be in the building until Saturday, game Sunday, let's assume, are they going to travel? Are they going to, like, what are they? There's no way. Like, you can't play the game. So now the Steelers have a week 4 bye week, which is absolutely terrible. Okay, that's bad timing. And there is actually a setup in the schedule for an actual possible return. And that comes in week 7, the best solution for rearranging the Steelers-Titans schedule. Steelers-Titans don't play Sunday, which is this particular week 4. Steelers have a bye week. I don't know what the Titans are going to do. I guess they have a bye week too? I don't know. Steelers-Ravens get pushed from week 7 to week 8 because both teams have byes then. Steelers-Titans play week 7. Titans have a scheduled bye on that week 7. So now the Titans will take a bye this week. Steelers will take a bye this week. The Steelers game against the Ravens gets pushed 1 week, and then week 7 when the Steelers will play the Titans because the Titans are already on a bye week. So the NFL schedule makers will hopefully come out and victory parade this and say we knew this was going to happen and say that this is a viable answer or a viable option for this particular situation. But this is the first of what I would assume isn't going to be the only, and it's going to be interesting to see how they balance the games, where they move the games. Will they just postpone the entire week, add games at the end? Because we do know that the NFL has the hotels in Tampa Bay for the Super Bowl for an extra month after what the Super Bowl is scheduled, which is not normal, by the way. I was told that that is not normal. So is the NFL now getting a chance to showcase a plan that they had made, or is the NFL now currently sitting in a room in New York going, what the fuck do we do now? And I would assume it's potentially the latter, because in this particular world, there's no way they knew whether or not they were still going to not be allowed to have people in stadiums at this point. I would assume there was a thought 1 month into the stadium, 1 month into the season, which we are now, that there would be a figure it out thing for the COVID-19. Because remember, at one point, COVID was just a 2-week bye week for the whole entire country, and then now it's become what it is. I would assume that any preparation that you have or any planning that you could have had to have happened months ago, but everything changes so quickly. Who knows if anything that they had planned for is even a viable option right now with the way things are going. It's insane. It's a wild time to be alive. And now the NFL is going to have to adapt in a fashion that the MLB had to do with the Marlins, what the college football is going to have to do or has already done, because they've had to move a lot of games, like 15 of them or 16 of them. Now the NFL is going to have to do it. Let's see how it goes. I'm pumped up about it. I thought, and I might be wrong, but I thought the reason why you test everybody on such a regular basis is so if a positive comes up, you can isolate said bitch, get them away from everybody, so then everybody else can continue to operate. 3 positive players, 5 positive personnel, contact tracing, who knows how many that is. But if you keep all of them out of the building, why do they have to shut down the entire building, clean the entire thing out, and keep it moving? Because if it was all over the building, then wouldn't more than 3 players, 5 personnel test positive? Or are they just doing this out of an abundance of caution because these are the first positive tests they've had in weeks in the NFL, and they're just worried that it could potentially take out an entire facility?
So it was big news also this weekend when Falcons corner A.J. Terrell got it. And so the one player on the team had it, but everyone else tested negative, so he sat out, and they still played the game. What's the difference between 1 player and 3 players?
Well, that's the big thing, is because if you're testing everybody, and that's why the world is so anxious for reliable daily tests that are affordable, right? Because once that happens, allegedly, now everything could get flipped on the side, complete bullshit like everything has at this point. But if everybody can get tested, then you have the ability to separate the people that have it away from the people that don't have it. So the people that don't have it can maybe live their lives a little bit. Yeah. Maybe the people that don't have it can open their businesses back up that they've run for 15 years that they haven't been able to open for 6 months, and potentially took every single fucking dollar out of their pocket and everything they worked for if they don't have it. I thought that is what the testing was for. So if you have availability for tests, you can get the people that have it away from the people that don't have it. And if 3 people have it and nobody else has it, that means, have you done a good job of keeping people socially distant and wearing masks? Yes, congratulations, like good job. But now let's keep them out of the building until they don't have it anymore, 2 clean tests or whatever, and then let them back. I'm 100% with you there. I don't know why 3 positives for the players, 5 for the personnel automatically means shut down the entire building. But if that's going to be the case, hey, the abundance of caution that every other NFL team is going to have to show, this sign and warning every other team is going to have to take from this, is a massive one. At Boston Connor, I assume Bill Belichick's got that place pretty well locked down. But we have known and heard stories from people like, hey, the person that delivered food coughed on my kid's drink. I grabbed it. I took my finger, shoved it in my ear. Somehow I got COVID. So who knows? This could happen to anybody at this point, I would assume, how every NFL team feels. And they're probably fighting the same fight we're fighting. They're like, hey, if 3 people get it, we're automatically shutting down. I thought that's why we're testing everybody here.
Don't they know where they're exactly at all times, that meter thing, that like little wrist thing?
At Viva Lazito there with the contact tracing wristband that they're wearing, it's kind of like a whoop band that they have on them. And as soon as you get too close to somebody, it turns a different color and lights up or something. And then it probably keeps that person's thing logged in the frame. It's like, okay, if this person ends up positive in the next 5 days, everybody that's touched it. In the NFL, I would assume everybody, that's probably why. Those 3 players, I would assume, have been in contact or in the contact tracing department with everybody in the locker room. And then the personnel people, 5 of them, they've probably been in contact with everybody. They probably had to just shut down everybody because of contact tracing at this point. That's probably what
Do we think it's 3 very important players, and that's why they're canceling?
I was going to say, do you think it's possible that Derrick Henry, Tannehill, and like Jonnu Smith got it, so they're like, hey, this is really bad?
At Ty Schmidt there, big Packers fan. I don't know. I honestly think that there's a chance that it's the contact tracing thing. Because the contact tracing thing was big for college football teams. Because college football teams, one guy gets it, well, that entire meeting room is out. Now you're out 15 players, and it's like, well, we can't field a team or whatever. So I think it's probably the contact tracing thing if we were to dissect. So although only 3 came back positive, those 3 were do-si-doing with another 30 guys in the locker, maybe playing a cornhole, socially distant game, but you could potentially touch the bag and have somebody else have it.
True.
I would assume that is where that's at. Showers, I don't know how they're showering. I don't know how that's going on.
Towel whipping.
They're on a bus traveling. I would assume you're sitting next to people, and while you're walking through the bus, you're probably bing, bing,
close quarters.
bing, bing. Yeah, and the Titans just traveled to Minnesota, right? They're all on a plane together, breathing the same air together.
Yeah.
I would assume it's contact tracing that is the problem here.
Yeah, from our friend of the show, Chuck Robinson of Yahoo.
Okay, Yahoo Sports still a thing, by the way.
Wow.
He was told that both Titans and Vikings franchise became aware of the COVID outbreak late last night, early this morning, began contact tracing. It included contact tracing on the Titans return flight, which is suggestive that an infected person was in a team's traveling party and on the plane.
So there we go. By the way, I saw the Colts doing like community events last week.
Really?
I wonder if those types of things stop. Like legit. Community events are great. Giving back is great. But what if that's what one of the players did Monday, right? Who knows how they...
Train can't stop here. I mean, they do have to shut everything down that's extracurricular if they want to keep the season going.
Yeah, but what about making the world a better place?
Oh, you can do that after the Super Bowl.
Football makes the world a better place.
Oh, yeah.
Well said.
Well said.
Well said.
Hey, man. At Viva Lazito, what is the poll today, brother?
Yes, did the Titans ruin the whole NFL season? Yep, 62.2%. Nope, 37.8%.
Okay, so did the Titans ruin the whole NFL season? Titans don't deserve that. Okay, from what we've heard about this particular thing is you never know how you can get it or spread it. But it is wild that contact tracing thing has probably just been going ham on them. Like, well, don, got it. And then they all get tested and it says negative. So then it's like, well, who's right? The little fucking wristband? Or the tests? Or were the wristbands created by the test makers because the test makers were under the assumption that COVID-19 spreads if you're even near each other, but the tests are saying no, so is the contact tracing thing even worth it? Well, now we're in a conundrum.
And who are those players near who were on the Vikings when they were on the field?
All negative tests coming out of the Vikings.
Nice.
Back-to-back days. That is a big deal. And when you remember back to the MLB, the Yankees shut down because they were playing somebody, or the Phillies shut down because they were playing the Marlins, and they thought they potentially had spread onto baseball while they were throwing a fastball or curveball. And the real problem was the knuckler, because that thing, COVID's just floating on that thing.
That's
It's
right.
just bouncing off.
Never know.
Turns out nobody on the opposing team has got COVID yet via play on the field. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. That's,
I'm not 100% sure if that's
Checks out.
sentence works.
But if we go back to the very beginning of this thing, who was that Utah Jazz player that played the bongos?
Rudy
on the-
Gobert.
Rudy Gobert.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was interesting. Rudy Gobert didn't know what we know now, but hindsight, Rudy Gobert made a wild move there. But he got his teammate who was sitting right next to him.
Donovan
infected, right?
Mitchell.
And so that was that's probably when the contact tracing thing started. It was like, okay, now we have to think about not only the person, but who they've been around. Let's make these bands, boom, boom, boom. That's probably what's going on in Titans thing. Everybody got contact traced. Now we have to test everybody numerous times because they said a different test was being given out to the contact trace people. It was like point of something test. The people that have been
What a contact.
no, I don't. It felt like they were maybe going to a store or to a doctor, not at the building to get their tests. And I would assume all those people have to pass, 2 negative tests, but it takes 24 hours, those tests. What day is it now? Tuesday. So that's 4 days. That's why Saturday has been the shutdown date. That means the game Sunday is definitely getting postponed or canceled. Okay, I'm happy we figured this out. Sorry we're figuring it out on air alongside you, but at least you know why we feel the way we feel, because you've heard literally every single thing we've felt.